Hello everyone and welcome to today's YouTube PUBG analysis. We are headed into week 3 and yeah, let's get it going. As I said just before I started recording this, I have not watched these games. So this will be the first time I see what's going on, and that's also a fun way of trying to guess what happens. You can see on the right side the leaderboards of the game. You can see Oath ends up winning the game, Fates gets seconds, SDK gets third, Gen G gets fourth. But other than that, I don't really know what happened this game. So we'll see. We'll see. I know there were some pretty high kill games. I know Virtus Pro at some point gets a 20 kill game. But which match it is, I'm actually not quite sure. So I guess we'll all get to find out together. Let's see. Western Plain, anything happening early that is out of the ordinary. Day trade down towards the south. Virtus Pro still here again. We talked to Batulans about it. Batulans was here during the last analysis stream, and he told us that when you have multi-circle gaming up here and you have Face on the left side, VP just goes down here because DA ain't around. DA is the only fully committed team that fully commits on the southwest side of Picado, and since they ain't here, they just go take it for free. And we asked Batulans, what if DA had made, or Digital Athletics had made it to the weekly finals? Would you then have still gone down here? And he said no, they would probably be fighting multi-circle gaming. So for multi-circle gaming's sake, I hope they heard that. And then if we get a weekly final where VP and MCG and DA are playing, then I hope for multi-circle gaming that they're ready to be fought against. Let's see. Anything out of the ordinary? We have Divine up towards the north. That makes good sense. We have SDK splitting out of San Martin. Gen G up towards the north. Navi, they're looting El Pozo. Okay. That's not something we see too often. Usually I would expect to see Navi further up towards the north. And then maybe Gen G on the west side. But seems like they've opted to change spots. And Tiamba down towards the south. GSG towards the south. Yeah, everything is pretty much as expected in terms of this. First circle towards the west, not too much to say. I mean, there is an area down towards the south where it's pretty limited how much you can rotate through here to here. It's kind of difficult to maneuver through, so you'd expect to see a lot of people coming in south around. A lot of people trying to make the transition like this, over the top, in from the north. There's plenty of opportunities. The only thing I would say is that, and I call it this, the trident. It doesn't necessarily look like one. It's just, you know, all the casters want to say that one word that then sticks and everyone uses it. And mine is this. So if you look at it like this, right, it could kind of look like a trident, you know? You know what I mean? It could kind of look like a trident down towards the southwest. No worries, Dofus. Have a good one. Take care. And thanks for sharing your thoughts. So you have this trident down here, which is what I call this area from time to time. And that can be extremely difficult to maneuver sideways or horizontally, because we know these hills are pretty damn tall or steep, so trying to get up over here and then down on the other side and then up over here and down on the other side, it's just extremely difficult. So should the circles go south, you want to make sure that you are to some extent on the correct side, or that you have a chance to transition, either being down below so you can easily go on the other side, or being on a side, maybe take control on two sides so you have a point you can transition between. We'll see how things end up going on as the game goes on. Blue splitting out down towards the south, a few shots fired towards day trade, not really too big a deal. T1 will go into Los Leones and get themselves looted up. Again, not too big a deal either. This is a pretty wide split from Virtus Pro. It's not a bad split by any means, but it's they're sitting pretty thin. Not sure why Lou hasn't rotated out yet, but now it seems like he is. Is he running down? No, he had a car. Okay. He was just scouting forward a little bit, and is then now moving towards his teammates. Face in the meantime, first Face has gone up to the hill. We know that Face likes to play around Tordillera in these circles. HC usually stays in the hilltop, and he's there still. I guess you can say industrial hill thingy on the south side of Monte Nuevo. I should not have my webcam here, maybe, I don't know. These west circles are a pain in the butt for everyone, including observers. Let's see. Everyone's wrapping in towards the west. TSG has come in from the south side. Tianba has come in from the south side. Let's see, Tianba making their way up to the mountains. They all just come in over, or like by Valdelma. We see, if you do this, you can probably see it better. T1 wrapping in late, just coming out of the city. Again, as I said before, you can't really wrap through this at all, so you have to go either underneath there or all the way over the top, actually. You could try and rotate through Chumacera, but teams just don't really do that. So T1, they're going to wrap in from the south. Ends coming in super late. Are going to be coming in from the north. They do already have Squeaky up here, maybe looking over towards Anonix. And they should be fine for now as well. Now let's see next circle. Where are we headed? Where are we headed? Boink. We go further west. Of course we do. Just because the observing... Or right now my webcam is not covering anything, right? It's not great. So we go further west. This makes for a troublesome rotation for some teams. Because as we said before, again, the Trident. The Pitchfork down towards the south. The mountain line still continues here. This is the high, like the backbone of the mountain, right? So if you're sitting over here, it's practically impossible. Like if you're sitting on the, let's draw the line up again. I'll just draw it like this. If you're sitting anywhere over here, it's incredibly difficult, if not near impossible, to scout anything over here. Because there's a mountain in the way. So you need to get up past this blue line in order to get any info on what's happening over here. And up towards the north, you have a city, and we know cities. You don't want to have to rotate through them if you can avoid it. So what does that leave the teams on this side with for options? We have T1 down to the south side. They're free to rotate in. They're underneath my webcam right now, so you cannot see that. Then we have Oath and TSG. TSG does have one player on the other side of the road, so they can maybe just go up there and rotate together. Daytrade needs to get in, Liquid needs to get in, Virtus Pro needs to get in, Africa Freaks needs to get in, and Divine needs to get in. But the thing is, they're very limited in where they can pass through safely, because here we have a mountain. We'll draw it in this color. Here we have a mountain that stretches pretty much to here. We'll draw it up like this. Here we have a mountain blocking off all the way actually down to here. And up here, we have a city that you don't want to rotate through if you can avoid it. So if you want to rotate into this circle, which is technically not that far. I mean, Daytrade is technically already inside it. But if they want to get a good position and don't want to go over the mountain, they either have to go all the way around, either have to go all the way underneath and wrap over this way, or they have to go up and over, like back and over, and in this way. Because up here, we once again have mountains, right? That are pretty difficult to pass through. So you can see how getting over to the left side here is difficult. And on top of that, as we said before, you can't scout anything. So you have to scout a lot on the move. So for all these teams that are to the east, it could easily become a very, very, very difficult rotation for them to make. We'll see how things unfold. Na'Vi go down. We'll just slow it down a little bit. Na'Vi go down, take control. They have Kemba in the middle. Wait, where is the rest of Na'Vi? Did they all die? Oh, they did. They're sitting up here. So Na'Vi currently is in a 2-1-1 split. Once this circle pops, they have to group up instantly. I'm looking at you, Na'Vi. Group the hell up. They do. Bestlock comes over there, but there comes SDK. Kemba is in no position to help. He can shoot over there, but is not in a position where he can help. All of Na'Vi gets eliminated, I would assume. Nope, they're still fighting. Okay, they're still fighting. Bestlock is alone versus the entirety of SDK, and then Kemba is down here without a chance to do anything. So they held their split for too long. And then let's rewind a little bit here as well. MCG pushes through, takes the fight up. No, they rotate behind. Okay, so they go down towards the south. SDK crashes Na'Vi. TSG wraps south around. You can see them on the bottom of your screens. Down here. T1 push in from below, as we expected. They split next to Tianba. FaZe, they end up fighting against Virtus Pro as they come in. And while all this is escalating, this is actually a really smart move from Daytrade. Why they sit over here on this side, they can see up here, right? So they see the pull up from Virtus Pro, and they say, "Great, let's push up here then." So right now, FaZe taking the fight to Virtus Pro. Gustav is on his own, and if they get the kill there, they should be fine to rotate further forward. But Gustav is actually staying alive for surprisingly long, so impressive by him. Selectop, salam alaikum to you as well. Or alaikum salam. I can never remember how you say it. I can say it one way or the other. Liquid in the meantime, as we said before, if you're sitting out here, outside the circle, either you wrap around the north, you wrap around the below, or you push into this without really knowing what's on the other side. And it seems like Liquid, they haven't fully committed to what they want to do yet. So maybe trying to wrap in from the south side is what they're trying to do. Ends, they're up towards the north. They've taken control. Divine, they were sitting out here as well. They've opted to wrap over the top. Liquid leaves Mexi behind with high ground, trying to look above them, make sure that no one's pushing down towards the south. And now let's see next circle where we're going, up towards the north. Okay, so Gen G sitting pretty tight right now in a two-way split. I would very, very strongly assume that they full speed send it over here. The only thing is, this is phase 3. Next circle, phase 4, it's gonna shift away from what? Unplayable terrain. What is unplayable in this circle? Tell me, chat. This is the little bit of educational stuff we do. What is unplayable in this circle? What is considered water by the circle settings in phase 4 in this circle? If you're watching this on YouTube, you can write it in the comments as well. Mountain on the west, correct. So we know the circle is going to shift away from this, or at least try to. We know the circle is going to shift away from this. Anything else? Anything else? North Mountain should be out as well. Morbid's been paying attention. This thing here. And this thing here. Where does this leave us with where the circles can go next? I don't think you have to guess. We have to go down here to some extent. Which is a pretty damn fucking terrible place to have an endgame. Unless if you have a compound. And that's why I'm saying, if you're Gen G right now, you're most likely gonna go over here. And then you're gonna try to play it into the field at some point. Knowing that the next circle is probably gonna go away from you because you're right next to the mountain. And at the same time, look towards the south. Look at how many teams are down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with day trade in between Wasteland. 9 teams are coming in from the south side of the circle. And if we know the circle is going to go here, there's just not a lot available. Up towards the north, there are more teams, but they will also need to find their way down here. There's just not a whole lot available. And again, keep in mind, I didn't watch this game. Maybe the circle did go up here, which wouldn't make any sense at all. But we have seen before some of the odd shifts that just don't really make sense. We can go in depth with how circles work, or at least how I've been told that they work. And yeah, if you understand how the circles work, you will know that sometimes there's simply too much unplayable terrain for the circle to be able to find a place to go. So we'll see now. Liquid, I mean Oath, they end up crashing across over towards Kemba. He's on his own. James and Liquid end up crashing up towards Tianba. Okay, so they see Oath. They see Tianba. Liquid sees Tianba shooting this way. They go, great, they're doing something else. Let's hop up here. Or maybe it's bait. Maybe they get baited. Because I don't know if they... Oh, they must see the vehicles cross. But they hear shots fired. They see Nux in the kill feed. And maybe they think the Nux are coming up here. I don't know. Not sure. But either way, they pull up in the compound while they're fighting on the other side. They lose 1. They lose 2. James all of a sudden is on his own. Great hold by Tianba. And making sure nothing happens. And now let's see. Now let's see if we are indeed going into that south side field. Yes, it shifts down towards the south. And then you can go. And this is where I sometimes explain things and sometimes I don't. But this is where you go. But wait, why is this still in? Because we just said, right, that we had this area, right, shift away, this area, right, and this area up here. Why is this still in here, inside the circle? The circle could just have gone a little further towards the southeast, and it wouldn't have been in. The thing is, and this is how I understand that the circle settings have been function. And someone can clip this, and then we can link it every time people ask. But as far as I know, and again, I don't have a full-on confirmation on this, but at least this is the theory that most people I know go by. As far as I know, every single time a new circle pops, and we're talking about like game mechanics here, right? Every single time a new circle, every single time a circle is closed in and a new one is about to be revealed, what the game does is that it generates 30 circles. It generates 30 circles that match the circle size, of course, and all that stuff that it has been told to. The string size, all that stuff. And then it gives you 30 different circles. And then after it has done that, it goes into the land ratio things and all that stuff and go, okay, so which of these circles make sense? Or like which of these circles fit within the settings that have been put in, land ratio, whatever it is. And they go, great, these 3 fit in. Then I'll take a random one of these 3, and that's the next circle. That happens when the new circle is popped. But what we see sometimes, for example, if this is phase 3, right, and we're about to see phase 4 shift, what if we have a river that goes through, we'll draw it in blue, a river that goes through like this. And you go, okay, so no matter where we put phase 4, there will always be river in. That means that when the game generates those 30 random circles, since none of the circles generated, let's just say we're in a situation where the circles, we're in a situation where no matter where you put a circle, anywhere within the third circle, no matter where you put phase 4, there will always be some water in. If that's the case, then it goes, we have no circles. We have no circles that fit the rules. What do? We just pick a random one of all the 30 circles. That's why sometimes when we've had those Rossock endings on Erangel, the circle still goes south when it should have gone north, or like it goes south when there's technically more space to the north. And you know what I mean? These type of shifts where we go, wait, what? That's not supposed to happen. But that's why it generated 30 circles. At least I say that's why, according to what we've found out. That's why sometimes circles will include that little bit of rock up here. Because maybe none of the 30 circles that were generated had that perfect circle down here that doesn't include any of it. Also, there's a little bit of unplayable terrain there. But yes. So there will be a little bit of it included. I hope that makes sense. It was a long explanation, but at least that's what I've been told. That's what I know that most players or people, I don't say live by, but what they expect to be the truth. And hopefully someday the PUBG Corp people will tell us that it's true as well. So sometimes, very, very rarely, we get that absurd, weird shift where it just goes like this. And you go, how is that even possible? And that's just because the game could not find a way to satisfy the settings you had created, so therefore it picks a random one. It is random. It picks random between the 30 that it generates. And the circles are generated randomly. So it is random. The game just picks one. And no, I don't think that's something a player or person who sits with the algorithm room can go in and just say, we want this circle now. I've seen a lot of people in chat spam, oh, these circles are rigged. There's a person saying where they should go. I'm like, no, that's not the case. I really don't believe that to be true. So, just as we thought we were going into the field, now we're even more in the field. Now we're even more into the field. We still have the bottom side of Genji's compound in, which is, for the most part, just shacks down in the south. SDK, they claimed this from Na'Vi. They're sitting pretty tight right now. Of course, they do have to worry. SDK should not be worrying about the field right now. They have to worry about this. And also, of course, getting crashed. We still have 4 or 5 teams down towards the south that have to find their way in. And there is just not a whole lot you can play down here. I mean, once you get over this ridge line, you're in the open field. And the issue is, as long as this hill is still in, which it is for now, ends a Freak of Freaks Virtus Pro, they can see everything down here. And this is just, yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy life to live. So we'll see now ends, of course, not only can they see people, but they also have to find their way down the mountain themselves. They will be wrapping around the right side. No one knows where the zone is closing. No, no. It's random. It is random. Unless, of course, if there is still some unplayable terrain in by phase 8, then you know what it should shift away from. That's the only thing. If there's still some water in when we get to phase 7 closing into phase 8, then we, again, just like phase 4, will expect the game to pick the circle that is shifting away. TSG, I believe it was. Yes, down here they try to wrap forward towards Zenith. They don't succeed. They have Multi-Circle Gaming shooting at them from the side as well. So down they go. Let's see. New circle pops down to the south we go. Just when we thought we couldn't get more out into the field. Face, they're sitting in a shack. Divine, they're chilling on the other side of the road. There's like a gutter down here they can sit in. And I think for the most part for them, they have to be looking up this direction. Because, especially now, or maybe also this direction. We're not quite sure where Gen G are planning on going. But they have to make sure they're not within nade distance for anyone. Because one good nade down there from either side is boom. And Divine is probably dead. Esther comes over. Oh, 3 knocks. Damn. That's from nades, I think. So 2 of them get naded. Probably Dan J. You saw Dan J run up and shoot over the top as well. Throws a nade on over it, gets 1 down, gets 2 down, gets 3 down. All of a sudden, Divine are in trouble. And this is a really nice reaction from Gen G. So if it is Danche who comes up and gets damage done, Pio gets a knock as well. And then instantly they go, great, they're inside the circle. They have a spot we can take. Let's go fight them. Smart playing by Gen G. Very quick reactions from Gen G. In the meantime, Hansia spots that Gen G leaves. He goes up and says, well, at least I'm safe for the next 15 seconds. So he's going to go up and play from there. Impressive that Divine is still alive through all of this. I was not expecting that. But very, very, very quick reactions from Gen G. Gotta say. They get the res up. They get to keep 4 alive. T1 have to push forward. This is just like the Korean side of the road over here. All the Korean teams on the left side of the road. Hansia tries to cross. Not gonna happen. Oath says no. Now they have to fight each other. I mean, there's not space for 2 teams on this side of the road, so they will have to fight each other. Reload tries the third party over the top. Loki goes down, gets rest back on up. Face, they've been sitting in the shack for an eternity. Now they get to split out and take some control, probably with a lot of smokes, while they know. Face knows that these guys are fighting, and they have to finish this now. They need to deal with STK now before whichever these 2 teams wins that fight gets to cross the road and shoot them in the back. So smart playing by Face to know to deal with this. And Uber is, as you can see, most likely looking in this direction. Or maybe trying to cover from behind here as well. Gen G ends up going down. Oath. They know for a fact that they have people in the field. They still have a little bit. You can see the little bit of road here for cover. Try to claw their way further forward. 1 goes down. Now it's a 2v2. Don't look to the right. It will spoil the results for you. As far as I know, they are working on getting that to be like removed possibly. But also these games have been played already, so not too surprising what happens. Circle closes in. Gustav is still hiding behind the shack. Now he's trying to make a run for it. Gets across, gets over to the hay bale, gets down the first one. Rillo versus Gustav in a 1v1. Uber crawls for info. Try and figure out where Rillo is. They're both playing for the dot. Probably a lot of smokes. And Rillo gets the kill on to Gustav. And Oath wins the game. Yeah, they go nope, and they die to blue over there, Gen G. I don't think Gen G probably used all their utility trying to deal with T1, right? So how the fuck do they cross the road here to stay alive? It is a little surprising though when you think about it, because it's game 1. I mean, the leaderboards are reset, completely reset, right? So it's game 1. FaZe and STK are currently fighting. And right now, I would assume they only have... I'm not sure if Snakers is looking this way or this way, maybe a bit of both. But Relo is clearly trying to hold here. Uber has knocked teammates on this side, so you would have to think that he's trying to hold here. So technically, they're in a 3v1 against Relo, at least right now, depending on what Snakers is doing. But they opt to go down to blue instead of trying to make the cross, and they deny the points. I'd have to go back and watch that game and see exactly what goes down. Maybe if the camera were on them. That was game 1 though. Interesting game. A pretty straightforward game, but I mean, just when we keep forcing teams out into the fields like that, it just becomes a I'm happy I wasn't there type situation. Because it's so incredibly difficult for the players to go out and play that. Let's hop over to game number 2. And again, if any of you guys have any questions, anything you want to discuss, feel free to ask, and yeah. Push something. Again, as I said, Boomer, maybe they don't have helmets or vests left. Maybe they don't have any smokes left. Why give 3 points to an enemy team? It is only a best of 10, right? You only play 10 games, and 3 kills, 3 points can be a big difference. So, why only give... Or like, why give 3 points that they maybe feel is for free if you can just go down? I think they maybe had a chance to do something, but again, I didn't watch the game, so I'm not quite sure what their health situation was like. But let's hop over to game number 2. Plane is towards the northwest. Should be pretty straightforward for teams to go where they want. We don't have infantry in, so no massive Impala looting teams. Ents we do have, but they have gone to the north many times before, and they'll do it again. Yeah, other than that, it's all pretty straightforward. Oath down towards the south side, stealing some vehicles away from T1. They'll do that just fine. TSG are down here. Champa on the west side. Day Trader doing their wide split. Virtus Pro are maintaining their 3-way split, as they did last game as well. FaZe doing their FaZe things. Navi again in El Pozo. That's interesting to me. Zenith doing their 4-way split up there. Multi-Circle Gaming doing their splits with Lindu down towards the south side. Freaker Freaks going over towards Minas. Everything is ordinary. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Let's see. Let's see what's happening here. How do teams rotate into this? Pretty straightforward. The only thing is, I would assume teams would want to avoid Los Leones. So if you're coming in like a Freaker Freaks, maybe they just go in like this. But if they go wrap, then they would probably wrap like this and not in through here. On the west side, I wouldn't assume to see many teams do this. FaZe, I would think to go over here, like past this church and in somewhere. Liquid would want to split out. They already have Mexi up on the top. They like to usually sit around this in these type circles. Navi could actually probably rotate south around. They could maybe do the south wrap and come in from down here. That's probably the only team. And I close down the window. It's Shift W, Toby, not Control W. Let's try again. It's difficult when Control and Shift are right next to each other. Let's continue. Yeah, so Navi could probably be a because it's Control C, but it's Shift V, and I messed it up. Okay, that's what happened. I just have to make sure. They could maybe do that south side wrap. I wouldn't expect Ents to try and do that, just because it's too far. It wouldn't make a lot of sense. Gen G are probably gonna be trying to wrap in from the east. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. What do you think? Console IGLs? I don't think console players should do things any differently. Shimmy, we've already talked about that. You can go back in the VOD because people have been asking a lot since we started. But we did discuss it in the beginning of the stream. So if you just go back to the start, then you can see it there. I think console IGLs, if you're talking Xbox and PlayStation, just if you want to, you can watch this and probably learn and everything that you would also want to use on console. I don't see how playing on other than, of course, maybe it's TPP, but I don't see how rotations and stuff should be much different. Maybe there's some fighting stuff, but we don't usually cover too much in terms of fight analysis. It's more rotations and big picture stuff that we cover. Let's see. FaZe, they did wrap in from the south as expected. They came in down here. Now I'm super cautious about doing this. STK wrapping around. Okay, that's interesting. So they came up for the top. They didn't want to backtrack all the other teams down this way. So they're wrapping all the way around. Again, as we said, don't want to go through Los Leones. Wrapping all the way underneath. Navi, where are they? Navi actually coming in up here as well. Okay, so Navi are going in later. They didn't want to wrap all the way south around. As I said, they would want to. So they are coming in from up here. Ends are going over the top. I'm not sure how far they're going to go. Gen G looks to me like they're going to go out this way as well. Divine coming straight into the city. Ends, they're going to sit over the top and maybe look down this way and see what's free. And they're going to time it perfectly with hitting here just as the circle is about to pop. They go across. They now know there's a team inside Picado. Let's see where the next circle goes. Oh, okay. That's a fun shift. I like it. So this circle is annoying for many reasons, but one of them is that this road right here cuts off what starts being the uphill. What I mean by that is that all this stuff up here, I guess like this, all this is uphill towards the south. So if you're sitting down here, if you're sitting anywhere down here, it's incredibly difficult, if not near impossible, to scout anything that is up here. And like contrast to if you're sitting up here, you can very easily see what's down here. So if you're down here, you get the benefit of a compound in an area where there's not a whole lot other you can do. Like playing in the open down here is really difficult early on, especially if all the compounds are taken. So by sitting up here, you get a compound, if you happen to find one. And if the circle comes to you, you're going to be in a very good spot because all the other teams are going to have to fight around in the open and you will have the benefit of a compound. But you will miss out on information towards the south. If you're on the south side, on the other hand, you will be sitting tight in an area where you can play, to some extent, more in the open. So for now, let's just for now, I would say staying on the south side of the road is the better option, just because we can play there and also scout some stuff. Whereas if you're up here, you're kind of isolated from everything that goes on in the south. The only issue is, as you can see right now, if we count the player track, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players, or 10 teams down here, and 6 teams on the north. There is quite a lot more players on that south side than there are towards the north. So you're most likely going to be met by a lot more opponents in this area. Now, as you can see, as the circle pops, this is always fun to look. Where does the, like, where do players rotate towards? A lot of the wide splits, obviously, are going to be, a lot of the wide splits are going to be from 3-1-1 splits now to maybe 2-2, or just people playing all 4 together. And as you can see here, SDK, they came in, they didn't like it. They know they're going to be behind a lot of teams. When SDK comes in late down here, as they did, they just got up on this hillside. When SDK comes into this circle and they see a west shift, they go, great. There is going to be a lot of teams over here. And they're right to think so, because there are a lot of teams over in this area, right? They go, yep, let's not do that. And then they go back the other way. They don't want to be the team that goes behind everyone else. So why not just wrap over the top? Again, see if you can find something up here and hope that the next circle goes towards you as well. So they're going to go out, going to wrap out around the back, not all the way around, but over the east side of Los Leones. Going to run up with Gen G. Ends have a compound. Divine has a compound. Liquid went below. As for, as I said, teams probably not opting to maintain their splits for too much longer. Virtus Pro have opted to go together. Zenith up here together. as a team. Oath have a little bit of a split, just trying to make sure that no other teams. They're one of the last teams to come in, so making sure that no more people are coming in from the south. T1 sitting in a compound with a little bit of a split. I don't know if can you really call it the 3-1 split? I don't think so. Danche is still around the compound, but he's just up on the hill. Somewhat of a two-way split between Multi-Circle Gaming, and everyone else really has kind of set up together. Let's see now. For now, everyone's going to be sitting tight. Because, as I said before, this path here is pretty telling of how the mid to end game is going to unfold. So everyone right now is waiting for that phase 3 shift to happen. Because if it goes south, you know, great. It's going to be in the open. If it goes north, you know, great. Sorry for yawning. We need to find a compound and try and sit tight there. So everyone's just waiting to see where the next circle goes. Because everyone has kind of sort of found their way into this one. That is so horrible. Keep in mind, this is the first time I see this. This is the first time I see these circles. And it also brings another type of analysis, because normally when we do these analysis streams, and I've seen the games, I know what's about to happen, and therefore I can go, this is why they do this. This is why they do that. But now that I don't know, this is all just me speculating. So when I talk about this here, and go, this is why they do this, I wouldn't normally talk too much about it, because I know the circle is going to go south. So I would mention it, but there's more. Oh no, I hope not, Clover. But this is fun for me too, because right now I'm watching the games for the first time, because it's not actually the game, it's a map feed. I mean, it's a game, but you know what I mean. So here, okay, let's see. Circle went down towards the south. The one thing that all these teams hoped it wouldn't. And all these teams up here, of which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, as we said before. 10 on the south side, 6 up here on the north side. All these teams up towards the top now need to figure out how the actual fuck do we get into this circle. And I really only see one approach angle. You have to wrap east around, or west around. And then either you can go into Juma, crash and hope you can fight a team there. You can try and play down here on the south hillsides. You can try, if you're absurdly quick, maybe if Ins has, if Navi has bikes, they can try and go up here before anyone else gets there on the hill. Other than that, it's gonna be difficult. There is no way 6 teams are gonna get into this circle, that's for damn sure. So let's see what happens. Ends trying to plummet straight through. Genji and SDK will go back on their east side. Afrika Freaks sending it straight through the middle. Divine are wrapping around. Ends just go full speed into the city, and they take the fight against FaZe Clan, and they get themselves 2 kills. Genji are going like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? And now they go to the other side a little late. They take the spot away from where Navi was before. And they can now sit tight on the north. Liquid, in the meantime, are currently trying to trap all the way south around. It's funny how Liquid's playstyles change so much. I don't change so much, but they play a lot more itch and like wide rotations on some of these shifts than they not normally would, than they would otherwise. And now they go back to Liquid things. See if you can find a spot in the center. Try and claim it. James gets to stay alive, find some kills. Circle goes towards the middle. Not as many pull-ups. Yeah, exactly. They scout more. I like it. I like it. And then because they still do this, they still do pull up on compounds when they think that's the wise, like when they think that's the wise or the better thing to do. And oftentimes it can work out for them. I like how they've added a little more like wide, like wrap rotations and scouting. That's what you do. Yeah, I guess so. So let's see now. Okay, so Ends managed to make their way into the city. Navi, they managed to make their way into the city. Afrika Freaks managed to make their way into the city. So they're all now within Chuma. Genji are playing it slow on the north side. Virtus Pro, they've been sitting here the whole time. SDK are in trouble out towards the east. Oath out here as well. And yeah, that's really all that happened with that last circle shift. Now what happens? Volibear tried to unfoot push up towards James. I don't know why. And then the circle goes even further into the open. Not only that, but you now have effectively... let's see if I can draw it up. That will be seen down there. So this. With the exception of compound. There. Let's check. Because all these compounds that I just drew up are still in, everything that is in the blue circle, which essentially is everything except for this, is practically unplayable. Because if you sit out here, you'll be seen by this compound. If you sit anywhere down here, you'll be seen by the team that has the high ground up here. If you sit out to the east, you'll be seen by the team here or the team that has the high ground up here. If you sit up here, you'll be seen by the team that has the high ground up here. If you sit over here, you'll be seen by these teams and the team that has the high ground up here. So right now, there's just not really anything playable in this circle. This is a really, really bad circle shift. And most of that is because the hill is still in. Had this been shifted out and we're gone a little further towards the east, all of a sudden a lot of this and a lot of this would be playable to a different extent. But because this position is still in, everything else down here is just absolutely garbage. That's really unfortunate. And we have how many teams? We have 1, 2, 3, 4... 4.5 teams that have to find a way into this circle. Let's see. Virtus Pro trying to hold off Oath. They succeed in doing that. They wrap around back. They get taken down. 2 of them goes. Oops. 2 of them goes down to PO. They don't have to make their way in. Tianba have managed to make their way in underneath, and the only reason I believe they can sit down here is because T1 and James aren't focusing on them. They're trying to hold out people from the east. You can see James runs back this way to make sure no one's coming in there. Now, seeing if they can shoot down towards them as well. Circle goes south. Finally, we exclude this, but this is still not playable until this team moves. This circle is just incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult to play. The thing is, it's such a fun situation where for Genji, they could maybe try and do this. Wrap underneath and hold out here. Like they can sit down here and hold out. Multi-Circle Gaming want to get in, and they want to hold out these guys. But they can't do it if they trade are looking down towards them. So they don't want to go early, but they also don't want to go last. Because if Genji beats them and perfectly times it so that once they get here is when they start moving down in whatever direction they up to go, Genji would probably, Multi-Circle Gaming will probably lose that. But on the other hand, if Multi-Circle Gaming goes too early to sit down here and hold out Genji, Day Trade will be shooting at them and Genji will be coming in and they will get killed. So they have to literally time it perfectly to get in here when they realize Day Trade are leaving to then hold out the other team. So we'll see who wins that race. You can see they're both kind of making their way down there now. Tank is in, trying to hold it. Now comes Genji, same position. As I said, that's really the only place they can play. They still have the teams up here, but because FaZe is here, because Zenith are currently taking a fight to Day Trade, they can't really focus down this direction. You can see them shooting at each other up here. And now the fight escalates between them. So they both managed to somehow make it down into this area. And now they're all fighting. That's pretty impressive. I thought that would be one of the teams eliminated on the way there. And they do get eliminated right after. So Genji goes down. Day Trade forced to try and fight their way down. They have a little bit of a pipeline they can follow down towards the bottom of the hill. Tianba, they get to sit tight in the center of the circle. Day Trade still 4 alive up here. That's actually pretty impressive. Zenith tries to get down. James, smart positioning. Exact same position he had in the game against Virtus Pro, where Liquid were 4 in the compound and Virtus Pro were down here. And Furia had a player over here. James was the one to split out towards the side of the hill. Found himself a good position to scout further forward from. And now he's sitting in a similar spot again. Did he get all 3 of them? I don't know how Roth got knocked. He gets knocked. And then Punich, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But they were all 4 alive at one point. How did James kill all of them? Did James kill all of them? Or did something else? I'll have to go back and find it. If someone can find a clip of that, that'd be great. I would like to see what happened there. Adder manages to make his way across. Not sure why Danger and Adder didn't run together. Oh, he's already up there. That's why. That's a good reason. He's already up on the hill. He killed 2 and 2 died from jumping out. Tiaba knocks Roth. He gets... okay. Gotcha. Because it's Jimbo. That's all the reason we need. That's funny. So, let's see. We are way out in the open. Tianba are trying to hold off the snakes on the south while also maintaining control of Daytrade up towards the north. Daytrade keeps getting shifted away from here, and they still they keep all 4 alive. That's really impressive. James goes, nope. Let me find an off angle. Tries to push in. Is he going to go for the kills? Is he going to deny? I think he goes down. But Daytrade, good game for them. I mean, they sit on the hilltop for a while, but it's not just, oh, let's sit up here and shoot at everything. They constantly have Zenith around. Let's go back. Zenith entered the city in phase 1, I believe, or phase 2. Yeah, no, phase 2. So from phase 2, they have Zenith, in and around the compound. Once phase 3 pops and it goes down towards the south, they make the wise decision and saying, you know what, we could try and maintain this 2-way split because the next circle could still go back to the east, which it actually ended up doing. But they go back up the hill. They know they have Zenith here. So while they know for a fact there's another 4-man team right next to them, they cannot just sit and look out this way. So they play it really wise and both getting some kills down the hill, but also constantly making sure they have control over Zenith. And when they have to push off, they make a wise move down the hill to take control of the teams over here and then wrap in and play contain on the top side. So good job, Daytrade. Let's hop over to game number 3. Where are you? There you go. To Erangel. There we are. Just update this real quick. I'll take a sip of coffee. Day 1, game 3. No, boom. I don't think Zenith could really do anything there. Going forward into a vehicle, that is a bit strange to me. But I didn't watch the game. If they had 15 smokes, maybe they should have tried to throw smokes and get down the hill. But I assume that since they were fighting so much with Daytrade, they probably used the majority of those smokes. Maybe they just wanted to get a little further down the hill, get out of the car. I don't know. When it's that late in the game, I always think you should run instead of trying to use vehicles. So if they had the smoke path lined up, maybe they should have tried to run, then they can at least shoot back easier. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I can't tell you. Oh, we have it there. Let's see.
It will
slow motion.
Venotica, what's left in the bag here?
You can see, I mean, they have absolutely no cover. Now they're fully flashed as well. This flash pops, they cannot see anything.
Out Zenith, they're a 4-man stack in a vehicle.
Full, and that one as well. With that flash, they are all blind for the next 5 seconds straight. But look at how open this is. That's what I'm talking about. Look at how extremely open this is. There's nothing they can do from up there. Again, look at how open this is. This is an area, again, if a lot of people are saying that the next season includes a Miramar remaster. I don't know anything about this, but that's what a lot of people are saying. Areas like these, add some rocks, add some trees, add some bushes, what do I know, cactus, anything. This is just way too open. If there were just a few trees here and there, even the broken ones like these ones, some rocks, something, add it here. Would make it a lot better for everyone. So they try and go down. Could they have stopped right here? Maybe. They would have been hidden. They could have stopped there. But again, maybe now is when they can actually see anything. Remember, they just got those flashes straight in their face. Straight in their face. They couldn't see shit for quite a while.
They're just driving around white here.
So there were a few spots that could maybe have stopped. But again, incredibly difficult. There's a lot going on. and they're probably blind up until around now.
Currently, eventually, it's gonna go down M200.
James gets 2. Shinboy falls out and dies. There's just not a lot you can do in this situation. The last flashbang, that one is gonna completely blind kickstart. That one is straight in front of all of them. That one blows just above. Look at this. The entire vehicle is full wide. It literally goes boom down on the entire car. You know how flashbangs work in this game. If you get one thrown straight in your face, you can't see shit for the next 10 seconds. They're driving blind down that hill. They cannot see anything. That flashbang is like a cloud right above the fucking car. Look at how it's like go. Look at the graphic. It's right above the vehicle. They are driving blind down that hill. So I'm not surprised they keep driving because they can't see what the fuck they're doing.
And they're all blind. No.
Thank you. Sims even says it. You guys should know if you heard it.
Blind. No.
They're blind. He says it.
Mount Zenith are a 4-man stack in a vehicle and they're all blind. No.
There you go. Sims, you're a great caster if you ever watch this. You're very observant. Very good job.
Going down. They're just driving around white.
Again, they're driving around wide. He keeps saying it. He mean the fact that Sims catches this in the action, I think is very impressive. Very impressive. Sims is a very, very knowledgeable, I don't know. Very smart guy when it comes to this.
That's the second one going down. They're just driving around white.
They're driving around wide.
Eventually, it's gonna go down into.
Maybe now Shinboy can see what he's doing.
200, the first one, Jimbo. Full teams here. Rock and roll.
They're driving around wide. I mean, thank you, Sims. You called it perfectly. I couldn't have called it any better at all. And then maybe I wouldn't even notice it to the same extent. So very wisely called by Simpsons. Thanks for the clip. Nobody won. Nobody won that game. You know. Ha. Yeah, I mean, again, Sims is an amazing commentator. He's been doing it for a long time, and he spots those things. Very, very, very wise guy. And actually, I have the pleasure of casting with him again at some point during this tournament. Let me see if I can find out exactly when. Unless if the schedule changes, which I hope it doesn't. Sims and I are casting together in the week 5 finals. We're gonna be casting the week 5 finals together. That's gonna be good. Gonna be good. Either way, let's continue the analysis. Let's see. Western Plain, pretty straightforward. Let's get players instead of teams and see if anything out of the ordinary happens as we see Circle 1 pop, which we do now. Great. Anything out of the ordinary, gang. Tell me, viewers, you are so wise here. Tell me if you see anything out of the ordinary. I'm gonna fly up and down a little. You should be able to see all players. You can see Kickstart there in between my webcam and the logo on the south side. Also, I think I have to make a different overlay for this. Navi and Prim. I wouldn't say. I mean, yes, it is out of the ordinary, but well, we'll take it in a sec. Into the north. I don't think that's any different from what we've normally seen. Virtus Pro. Where do we find Virtus Pro? They're looting in the middle. There's quite a few things going on here. So we have VP splitting Rosok. Why do they do that? Because TSM isn't here. Because DA ain't here. STK, they get to split here. Why do they do that? Because 4AM isn't here. So STK would normally go as Naya. Here they have a plane that's, as we saw, way towards the west. Why try and force your way to Naya if you can just loot here? 4AM end around. And this is the first game, remember. This is the first game of the weekly finals. If you want to claim a spot from a team that isn't here, and their spot is usually better than yours, do it in game 1. Because if you don't, other teams will do it. Oh my god, Roadkill. You're actually the wisest person in the universe. Wait a second. It won't completely cover it. But it's something. Can we all just give a clap in the chat for Roadkill, who is the official wisest person in the chat. Sorry to everyone else. Smart guy. My IQ is about 15. If we spam emotes hard enough, you can cover the winning team. That is true, I guess. That is true. So keep spamming. I will not be able to answer any questions because it's just going to be non-stop spam all the way through. Either way, let's continue. But yes, there's a lot to break down here. Virtus Pro, they're opting to take over Rust. Like as we said, DA ain't here, TSM ain't here, easy peasy. SDK takes this, 4AM ain't here, easy peasy. Gen G, and this is a little surprising to me, Gen G opts to go Fairy in a game where Na'Vi is here. That is a little surprising to me. That is a little surprising to me. The fact that they try and claim, because it's a Southside plane too. So the first team to jump out are FaZe and Oath. That makes sense. Oath goes military, FaZe goes over towards the east side. Or towards the west side of military. Then Na'Vi jumps. Na'Vi and Gen G jumps at the same time. But for Gen G to jump out and take this, if maybe they see the first team jump and they go, great, that's Na'Vi out. But if I saw a team jump early towards the west, I would go Day Trade. I would go TSG. TSG has been down here before. I would go Virtus Pro. And then I would expect Na'Vi to want to go here. So maybe they've played scrims without 4AM, without these teams, and Gen G has played here. I actually don't know. I haven't watched scrims this week. It is a little surprising to me, though, that Gen G goes down here. Where does Na'Vi fly? They jump out of the plane. They just instantly go west. They instantly go out towards the west when they get out of the plane. Okay, so Gen G takes over Fairy. Surprised that that happens the way that it does. They traded down here, Zenith are down towards Quarry. Circle goes down towards the southwest. Up towards the north, we have a Freak of Freaks. They're gonna go out towards the east and get looted up. Multi-Circle Gaming are gonna split the way they do their things. Divine are gonna go over towards Yasnaya, I would assume. Boomer, you don't time out them for that long. You just press the name and time out them for 1 second. Wait, I can't time out Boomer? Damn it. Because he's a mod, I can't time him out. What is this? There you go. Either way. Circle is far down towards the southwest. And let's now see. Liquid, I'm gonna wrap on in. Play it safe over the top. TSG coming in from the east side. Day Trade coming in. I'm curious to see where Na'Vi goes through. Goes to play from. Okay, so they just wrap west. FaZe, maybe see Na'Vi leave. They try and wrap around the south side. They've done these things before. Down south they go. Have they actually played all the way around the south side before? I'm trying to think back now. They have been on the south side beach. They've usually just been fighting teams down here, I guess. But now they succeed in getting over here uncontested. They get the southwest side under control. And they get to wrap over here. Now let's see. Freak of Freaks come in late. I mean, they were on Stalper on the west side plane. So it takes them a while to get up there. And Circle goes west once more. Great. So let's see. Tianba coming in from the north. They'll have a chance to wrap down this way. Ends up towards the north. What are Ends gonna do? They probably won't wrap on the beach. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ends wrap east around. But then again, we know there's a lot of teams trying to come in from down here. Maybe Inns just goes over here and tries to wrap in from the north side. We got it right. They go down towards Quarry. They committed a little harder than I actually thought they were going to, but they go down towards Quarry. They take the Quarry side of things. Virtus prop towards the north, fighting off Multi-Circle Gaming. And they trade, trying to take control of the hillside with Gen G on their east. In the meantime, Navi and Tianba are fighting for God knows why out towards the west. Did Navi just lose 3 players on that? Oh, they did. Unfortunate. Tianba, they're chasing. Senya gets the safety. And FaZe Clan gets the circle thrown in their direction. They get to maintain a 2-way split. I would not assume that they keep it, though. Question is here, though. What does FaZe prioritize in this situation? Does Fuss and Uber go up to 8C and Gustav? Or do they go back to the compound? Because the compound is great, but you can't scout shit uphill. Whereas to up here you can see everything, but there's also the fear of like multiple different angles pushing you at the same time. Let's see. Maybe they're trying to maintain their split all the way through it. I would be surprised if they do. Seems like that's what they're doing. They know that this is gonna, like, they know that the southwest side of Quarry is gonna work kind of as a buffer. They know there's a team playing over here, so that if a team tries to push through, they will have the warning that a team is coming early enough that they can do this. But I was thinking if a team goes like this, over and down, and who knows why, just crashes into it, that could be them in trouble. Actually, let's move this over real quick. Oh wait, not that one. That one stays. This one. There. Great. So we'll see how long they try and maintain their 2-way split for. In the meantime, you can see all the commotion is happening up here. There is very quiet and calm on the southwest side. And of course we know next circle is going to try and exclude all this. So that's why people are trying to settle up towards Quarry. Because they expect the next circle to hop up in that direction. Divine tries to wrap around the south side. They succeed. Then they want to go all the way around the south. And they realize, nope, let's not do that. New circle pops and woof. Circle goes to the north. Could have gone further east, but it goes straight north. Again, not unexpected when you consider that this was going to get excluded. And this, I mean, this whole thing was going to get excluded. Not uncommon to see the circle go up there. And now you have to expect for Gustav and 8 hit you full speed, send it back to the compound. While all of this happens over here, this is just a shooting gallery for FaZe Clan. Only issue is, again, as I said, they can't really see anything up here. And that's partially, I guess, also what Gustav and 8 has been tasked with, is making sure that this is clear so that no one is shooting them down here. You can also see how Uba and Fuss are playing this. They're playing it on the left side of the compound, looking up this direction. Here they come. FaZe, full speed, back together. Oath, they see this. Good reaction, Oath. I like the play. Murillo was playing close on their side. They had Snakers and Balefrost down the hill. And as soon as they hear 8 and Gustav leave, they go, yep, mine now. Padcaps comes in from the south. Maybe he saw them leave as well. They now have this, and they hear Divine come in. So they push back down to try and hold out Divine on the south side. And Divine are allowed through. Through to where? Through to death. We have Hansia already there. Liquid are claiming 1/3. And we have Virtus Pro on the other third. Now Divine are coming in to say hello as well. Okay, good bet. 3-way team, 3-man team, and a solo. And they crashed the solo. That's a fortunate guess. Somehow they got it right. I would say maybe they rolled a coin and they went, which one do we go for? And they take the one on the top side. Maybe they were expecting that if it was one team, they would be sitting in a 2-1-1. Let's start in another color. 2-1-1 split. And that since this compound is a little bit isolated in between, they could get this without these teams pushing around them. Whereas if they crash this, the players that were here would be pushing over as well. Maybe that's why. But they get this one. Smart play by Divine. Really smart, actually. Play by Divine. Oath tries to hold out Gen G. They do manage to do so. They go down to blue and they go down to day trade. circle goes up towards this again. I gotta watch back this game. I've been waiting for a circle to end around these compounds for a long time. I gotta go back and watch this game. I've not seen that before. Ever since Quarry was changed, I've never seen games that ends like on the swamp side of things. They usually go either into Quarry or on the south side down here. Oath, try and... Why does Oath go that way? They want to go down and play below Quarry. I would have thought they'd want to go through the forest and around. So that they can cross here as well. They opt to go down underneath. They then leave themselves super exposed to FaZe Clan. And now they're just caught in the middle of all the Quarry chaos. I would have thought Oath would have gone up this way. Because they sit here, they can look that direction. They can see that Tianba and Afrika are about to fight. So if they time it right, they could try and cross over this way. And if Afrika and Tianba are fighting, they can perfectly time a third party. But no, not gonna happen. They opt to go into the circle instead, which I guess also makes sense. But now they're just in between all the chaos here. And fight ensues once more. STK, is that STK Zenith? And just full on NA chaos down here. STK, Zenith, and Oath all on top of each other. That's pretty interesting. We have all the NA teams that are in the weekly finals are just sitting on top of each other right now. They'll fight to the death, and I guess Oath wins that. Oh, that's pretty impressive. So even though they don't, I mean, I don't know how many kills they got, but I would assume they got quite a few. Takes too long. They have 60 seconds, right? Happens at 1:30. Yeah, they got 1 minute to make the rotation before the circle starts closing. The thing is, you could argue that they would have to fight downhill towards Tianba. But if they've seen that there's another team here, I don't know. This, I mean, in the end of it, this ends up working out for them as well. So I guess it doesn't really matter too much. But I would still have thought that would have been, oh my lord, that is a gift shift. They can't know of a team. Yeah, exactly. They haven't had a chance to clear the entire forest. I guess that does make sense. That is a very fortunate shift that FaZe Clan... There are so many circles where that compound is not still in. And this circle goes yoink down here. That is a little fortunate. Again, Quarry forcing or forced to take their fights all the way through. T1 has been able to stay alive with a lot of players there as well. That's pretty impressive. Tianba and Afrika would have to fight in the end of it, and the compound is still in as well. That's what all of chat has been waiting for. FaZe circles. I've seen so much chat spamming of like, oh, FaZe are only not getting good results because they don't get circles. Everyone is poking in chat. But here's a good one. And looking at the right side, we can see that they do make the most of it, which FaZe normally do. They're really good at clutching out games. Oath, try to get down the hill. Not quite so easy when you have a lot of teams looking their way. Now the circle goes away from FaZe Clan. So now they have to play out into the field. Let's see what they up to do. Plus FaZe, full speed forward. Uber, trying to wrap with him. They take a vehicle, go across. Uber goes across. Again, playing the end game smart. By doing this, they just took control of all of this. They know that if this in here, if this fighting comes to an end, and a team gets to set up, they're held out. If any team gets to set up shop here and hold them out, FaZe are dead. So they have to be proactive. They have to do something about it. And they go up and they claim this entire side of the road, and now they're the ones that can hold out over here. Extremely well played by FaZe Clan. They go up, they set up two on the other side, they leave Gustav behind to kind of be the eyes in the sky. HC tries to make the same move down towards this side. He ends up going down, but Gustav from behind is now the one holding, while Fuss and Uber can sit from here and hold. So if anyone tries to run out this way, they will be there. Gustav will have the info, they'll be there to hold. If anyone tries to run out this way, Gustav will see it, he can give the info across, and maybe, I don't know the exact lines of sight, but I would assume that Fuss might be able to shoot over in that direction too. So just really well positioned here from FaZe Clan. I would assume that they just wait. Now they get the circle back towards them. They're probably going to sit here for a little while longer, wait for this to happen. They still have to wait for VP to make a move, right? Because again, if they try to go out here, wrap into the field and go over this way, that could fuck up face. Like so if Fuss and Uber had now gone into the center or down here, and they get to wrap around, then they will have a full fight going on here. And they can go haha and third party. So they don't aggress. They wait here. I assume they will move in slowly with the circle and wait for this to happen, and then they can try and, like, while these two teams are fighting, they can try and position themselves. By the way, EU endgame. Damn. Somehow Senya is still alive. He's been a solo player for the entire game. Now the fight happens, and as I said, once it starts, once they start engaging, reposition yourself, face, and take full control of the circle. That's exactly what they do. They sit tight. They allow them to fight without having a need to go get third-party kills. And in the meantime, they just take the dot. They have full control of the circle now. They know they have to come forward. Clips, I would assume, maybe goes down to the blue, and FaZe wins it without having to shoot at all. FaZe don't have to do anything. They don't have to risk their own lives. And they win the game by forcing the other teams to fight each other. It's not even them, it's Batulins that gets Senya down. So they don't have to risk anything, they just get a free win. By allowing, I mean, it's not free because they do a lot to get it. But they do it by positioning themselves well, rather than running out and butchering people. Just well played by FaZe. Smart positioning in the late game to get themselves the win. Yes, they did get the lucky circle in phase 6, I guess, down here. But once they had to shift out, many other teams, and I don't want to mention any names, but many other teams, once this circle pops, would not have done what FaZe did. And even if they would have done it, they would not have done it as fast. What they do here with sending Fuss and Uber out to the right side to maintain control of this, and Gustav up here to maintain control, many other teams would not have done. They would have played it incredibly slow. They would have been sitting 4 down here. Then the fight would have ended up here. They would have pushed out. There would have been a 4v4 in the field. Instead, FaZe, they're smart about it. They go up, they take control, they position themselves here, and they make sure that these guys can never get out of the compound alive. So smart game from FaZe Clan. Let's hop over to game number 4. Boop. Just gotta change this real quick. Game number 4. There we go. I'm just gonna take a sip of coffee while the plane's flying. Let's see. Anything out of the ordinary here? Gen G, once again, go back to their split. Now day trade and... How did they both get knocked there? How did this happen? No one seems to be shooting. Can someone explain to me what happened there? I don't know. Did they both get knocked from parachuting? I don't know. They both clipped the tree. They actually did? They both got knocked from parachuting? That is so dumb. Oh no. I was thinking that's gotta be the only thing they could have done, right? But that doesn't make any sense. They both get knocked from parachuting. That is incredibly stupid. Hey Toby, thanks for your some Russian caster. Oh really? Yeah, Grandma, how are you doing? Thank you so much. Glad you enjoyed, and hope the Russian broadcast is going well. Flew in with the shotgun. PO is coming in, trying to help. Circle is out towards the east. In the meantime, oof, these circles are fun because they can still go down to military. There's not a big chance it will, but they still can. They get the 1 kill there. They don't get to res on up. Day trade loses 1 early, and that's just a fun start to the game. 2 players getting knocked by parachutes. I feel like we have to go back and rewatch that. If someone can find a clip of that, I would love to see the caster's reaction when that happened. Circle towards the east, centers on farm. We don't really have to draw it up. There's plenty of areas you can play, and as you can see, all the way up towards the north, you can pretty much rotate in from anywhere in this circle. It's a very straightforward first rotation. Plenty of areas you can claim in the center of the circle. The only thing is, most teams will not be anticipating this to be a military shift. So we can pretty much say that normally, I mean, what we see now as a circle is phase 1, right? Like normally this whole thing is phase 1. If it's Miramar, the entire first thing is playable. And while it's still playable, since no one's going to expect this one to go military, at least I would assume not, all of this we can pretty much exclude. We can pretty much exclude all of this area, which means that phase 1 really only is this big. So phase 1 is only half the size of what it normally would be. Taken for granted that no more teams are wrapping down towards military. That's pretty interesting. Just keep that in mind. Phase 1 is actually a lot smaller than what you would think it to be. We'll see now where teams opted to go. Oath have to find a way to get across. You can see Balefrost getting looted on up. Reload. Sitting, looking over towards the gas station, trying to make sure that no one's sitting around over there. Zenith wrap east around, trying to get into the circle. Navi want to wrap west around, but they run into Divine, so they turn around and go back the other way. They keep 2 up inside heaven. They sent their players. I like how Navi are rotating around right now. You can kind of see how they're moving into the circle. Constantly scouting their way forward. Look at this. Just look at this. Even though we don't see their POVs, it's, in my opinion at least, very easy to see what it is they're trying to do. So they come from the mansion. They've just looted like this. Now they're done looting Navi, right? Oh wait, let's watch this first.
But they still had 10 frag points to boot alongside it. Like, you're picking up still more than most of the lobby by frags alone. And that's what you need to do. Like, STK's consistency and just determination to never give up. Is he gonna
go like this? I just want to see the reaction when they see the parachutes. 11th,
but they still had 10 frag points to boot alongside it. Like, you're picking up still more than... Fell back to back. Yeah, okay. Well, is being through teams to keep an eye on. I kind of thought coming into this competition they would be up there, and I want to
see how they react when they see the parachute knocks.
What I was hoping, because you have to think how much like experience this team has amongst itself. They have been to multiple lands. They have been together for absolutely donkey's years now. And to see that consistency playing through, and to see them still doing well, apart from 2 players who just fell back to back. Yeah, okay, we'll kind of check and see what happened there.
So confusing. 2 players just fell. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that is funny. Either way, let's continue. Hey, King, thank you so much for the resub. 16 months. Damn. Thank you so much, buddy. Let's continue. And let's see now how this one plays on out. So as I said, not a lot of teams going to be expecting this one to go all the way down to... Oh no, sorry, that's where we came from. I am doing too many things at the same time here. So now we just finished looting. They want to wrap into this one over the top. They hear the vehicles above. They go up to scout forward. They see Lewis is there. And they go, great, let's not go there. Then they go back towards the south. They go, okay, Turtle is here. He's shooting at us. Let's not do that. Then they go up here. Sit 4. Kemba and Senya get into position and cover us. They rotate down. They go, do we want to play here? Great. This is free. We don't want it, though. Now we saw them wrap around the side. If we go down here, can you guys please go over the top and scout further forward? We will do that. Now they sit here. They get their vehicles again. They scout. And now they go. It's just really smart playing. And they go over, then they scout for each other. Just like, go, scout, go, scout, go, scout. They can constantly kind of move in from, move in front of each other and scout forward. Very smart playing. Oath did manage to make it their way across. Did they get across with vehicles? Yes, they did. So they get across with cars. Gets a split on the south side down by Sharkfin. Ends try and find a spot to play on the north. They don't get one. They have to wrap out towards the east. Day trade come in from the west side late, and now the circle goes north. So again, no one opted to play the south side because very small chances it was going to go there, and it didn't. So that is that. New circle pops, and now of course we're excluding a lot of priority areas, not priority, but a lot of areas that can fit teams in. Milta is still in the circle, but very far on the edge, right? The whole military hill is slowly getting excluded, and And as we know, around farm, there's a lot of open terrain that's extremely difficult to utilize, especially, first of all, early in the game, but also as long as these hills are still in. You pretty much cannot use the open field for anything. So the center right now, which is around here somewhere, is very open and incredibly difficult to maintain control of. And hello, Bill, how are you doing? Towards the center goes GSG. Chiamba goes down to the dip on the north side, splitting 2-2. STK goes up and takes control up on the hillside. Ens tries to wrap underneath the base. They ran out on this? They did. They come out to get a kill. They managed to get one. Ens manages to continue below. New circle's gonna pop. Boom. Down towards the south we go once more. TSG sitting tight in the center of the circle. Virtus Pro, they're up to the north. They just got shifted away from. T1 as well. Smart four-way splitting here, taking full control of the north side of the circle. Liquid got shifted away from as well. Gen G now have a decision to make. Do we want to try and push forward and take some more control, or do we want to try and sit here and hold out teams coming in from the west? Oath, in the meantime, in a 2-1-1 split, they need to commit to, I kind of want to say one place. Maybe two, but I would still probably want to say one, because let's draw a line through the, whoops. Let's draw a line through the middle here. Kind of. It doesn't get any better than this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 teams on the south side currently, and 11 teams towards the north. That could be a reason for Oath to say, great, we are not sure, but we're assuming that the majority of players are still up towards the north, so let's just maintain our split for now. But knowing this area, and of course you guys have seen it many times before, when we have these circles go down towards the farm, what do these teams tend to do? Yeehaw! Full speed downhill, try and crash something. For some reason, it's always this wizard tower. But in this area of the map, more than anything else, there's a very big chance that some of these north side teams will try and crash their way down towards the south, which would make me think, at least for Balefrost's sake, get out of that tower. Get back to your teammates and play it together. We'll see what they actually end up doing in just a short moment. There still are some compounds towards the south. You have some areas over here you can play. But again, as I said, majority of teams are up towards the north. So maybe we'll see teams try and wrap east around. Wouldn't be surprised to see Navi actually try and do that. Come in from the east. T1 might want to go all the way down towards the south and play in from the beach. Or maybe just try and play it slowly through the forest down towards the south. We'll see. What are they up to do? Navi, are they in their vehicles? Are they going east? Yes, they are. I love it when I get it right. Oath, they had 3 spots, and they go, you know what? Let's not sit here. Let's just take a new one. So they crash on over towards farm. Ends do the same thing. Blind rotation. Or maybe not completely blind, because if you're sitting the 3-story here, you might... Or the 3-story here, I mean, you might be able to see all the way in. I'm actually not quite sure. But they try and scout further forward either way. Drive forward, full speed. They never stop. They just continue going. They get themselves the east side position. Oath, they pull up here as well. They trade C that they're leaving. Once they see Oath, or hear them anyway, leave, they go, well, this is ours now. They go in and take it. Liquid, wrap underneath. They come in from the south side. They take what's left over from day trade's rotation. T1, they did up to push east. I thought they were actually going to wrap further around, but they do push into SDK. Navi, playing it slow on the top. Not going over the top either. They're just playing it in over shelter. Here comes Tianba. There was your crash towards the wizard. It was going to happen eventually. And there it was. Virtus Pro trying to claim control. That's a big area to try and claim control of. But T1 and SDK, they brawl it out. T1 wins it. Here comes Virtus Pro over the top. They get 1 down. They get 2 down. And this circle goes towards the northeast. So now we're shifting out the majority of farm. We still have the main building in. But this whole area is out. So Oath has to move. Liquid needs to make a move. They have wrapped from all the way over here. South around. And now on the south side, now they have to make a move north. The only thing is, when we look up towards this circle, what can you really play? I mean, FaZe right now have control of this. They can push their way forward. You have this area. You won't be able to sit here without dealing with this. You have this position, but they can't really get over there. I would assume anyway, without face shooting at them. I would also believe that Gustav is probably going to go over and take that. So right now, the most... I mean, this is just incredibly open. I think that's the fact. I'm trying to come up with what would make sense, but there isn't a lot of sense to make. It's absurdly open, this area. VP could... I mean, they're probably still gonna try and hold out here and then push in and play the hillside. But down here is just incredibly open. We'll see what Liquid does. What they end up trying to do. They reunite. I would still think they go up in the ball here and maybe take the fight to face clan. We'll see. Here they come. Around they go. Take the fight through blue. We are in phase 4 now, so it hurts quite a bit. Try and wrap forward. Day trade is coming down this way as well. They try to wrap around, and they do get it. Okay, so Gustav didn't opt to take it. I would assume that they wanted to get this position. Liquid has gotten over here before. They've liked playing from here. They qualified through to the weekly finals from that position, so I'm not sure how they were allowed through. I would have thought that FaZe did more to hold them out, but they back off. They go into the circle. They do lose first FaZe, a little out of position there, as Day Trade comes over the side. Could have maybe backed off further to the... maybe he was playing the hillside for a while. Could maybe have backed off further towards the compound earlier. Would have stayed alive, but he tried to hold as Liquid tried to make their way around. Takes attack, gets the heal up. As soon as he gets healed on up and gets back on foot, Day Trade comes in and kills him. Now, they have to try and hold off, and Liquid managed to get around. Mexi wants to get across as well, but he goes down. Does he get flushed? Yes, he does. New circle, hard shifts south. Christ, these circles. I mean, as much as you say circles ain't going in the favor of certain teams, they do now. Down to the south we go. But I guess this is also for the better, right? At least for all of these teams. Because the compounds are still in for the most part. And for everyone else that are sitting in the open, they're going, oh my god. Can we just shift away from the compounds already? We would like to fight in the open. Can we please put them to our terms? But it's just not the case. It doesn't happen like that. Zenith trying to wrap down towards the south and contain. They just got to find some way of an approach. Because there's nothing you can play over here. You cannot sit here at all. Yes, I mean, you can go down and play these shacks. But other than that, there really isn't anything you can play. Here in the hill, nothing you can play. You can hide all your players behind a vehicle, sure. Towards the north, nothing you can play. As long as these compounds are in, there's just nothing you can do. As long as this is in, you can't play anything here. It's just a really terrible circle for everyone who doesn't have a compound. Genji try to go to the center. They end up brawling it out. Virtus Pro trying to prone it down in a little spot next to each other. Zenith are there. They end up going down. Virtus Pro for now are staying alive, mainly because Divine and Oath are taking a fight down by the warehouse. Liquid try to make the move. They manage to get one across. Day Trade and FaZe Clan for not really fighting each other. Then New Circle pops, and as everyone else had crossed the road, Day Trade... I'm not sure how FaZe Clan were allowed to push over there. Oh, okay, they're doing it from below, so that makes sense. So FaZe Clan gets across. I believe they have a few trees, maybe a rock, to play around. And their vehicles, obviously, and some smokes. But they now, again, do the passive move of saying, we know with the last two circles going in this direction, that a majority of teams are going to be coming in from here. So if we go over here, the only team we have to worry about, really, is going to be these guys. Because... they're the only ones that can really get eyes on us and are within nade distance and all that. Everything else will be happening on the other side of the road. So FaZe are kind of playing this like they would play, like you would think a team would play the weekly survival, right? They don't go for kills at all. They did spread out in the south earlier to contain, but they know that Liquid pushed across and died. They know that other teams tried to push in and died over here. And they know there's still a ton of action going on down here. So they go, we don't need the kills right now. We don't need to hunt kills. Let's just play it smart, play it safe. We're only 3 alive. Let's go over here, sit tight, and allow for everyone else to fight. Because we know that's going to happen. They go over here. They find themselves a position from where they can chill. You can see it's limited kind of how much they can spread out. But they go over here. They allow for everyone else to fight each other. They go from tree to tree. And try and stay tight on their side of the circle. Again, you can't really get up here without being seen by everyone. A freak of freaks. 4 alive still. Try and wrap in now. Try and play control and take down face. Uber somehow allowed to get rest. Not sure what the freaks are doing here. Why would they not? They trade are fighting each other and VP are fighting each other. They get the knock onto Uber. Then I don't know who damages who. I would assume it's a card that attacks 8C as he goes over to res. Why would Hikaru not push further forward? Maybe Vanotika is looking this way. That's interesting. I'm not sure how FaZe were ever allowed to get that res up. I would have thought the Freaks would have pushed on that much earlier. That's very fortunate for them. Very lucky for FaZe that the Freaks didn't push in a 4v2. They try and push in. Now, a Freaks end up being the sandwich team, and that's their own fault. No, Gandalf. I didn't watch the games. Did they just lose 3 to Spiro? And Lou? This is odd. So they lose 3. FaZe pushes out. And ends up going down to Virtus Pro. How did a Freaks not win this game? Again, they maybe don't have smokes or maybe don't have nades. I'm not sure. Is this the game where Virtus Pro had 20 kills? I mean, they were clearing the entire circle up here earlier. And they rotating. I mean, Virtus Pro got shifted. As much as FaZe maybe got circles going their way the majority of the game, Virtus Pro got shifted away from all the fucking time. This is phase 2. Hard shift, not hard shift, but shifts down to the south. Virtus Pro has to make a move. Let's see here. Virtus Pro has to make a move out. They come up the hill. And they know there's a fight going on over here. They get a lot of third-party kills in the first one. They get the rest up back up to Batulins. In the meantime, T1 does the same thing. Virtus Pro, again, playing contain. Sit tight on the edge. Hold off. Batulins is looking for a place for them to go. And while Hiruzen and Lu are looking the other way, they go, great, let's make the rotation. Now they see the fight happening down here. They get the knock, they get the flush. They clear themselves a spot. They just got shifted away from twice. Now the third circle happens. They get shifted away from again. And they go, great, what do we do here? Everyone else are going to be... This is where we said before, there really isn't a whole lot to play. You have a little dip up here, and you have the shacks, right? Genji makes their way through. They, of course, see that. And then they go, great, now it's our turn. Because they realize these guys are about to fight. They go up and they sit tight on the north side. Nate's probably, I would assume, thrown from VP over here. To get the kills onto Zenith. They now sit in a pretty decent position to get some third-party kills down towards the southwest. I'm going to be watching all the games. I just haven't had a chance to. My weekend has been incredibly busy. So as much as I wanted to watch the games live, I just didn't have time to. I will watch all the games. Don't worry. I feel like that's part of my job to have watched all the games. They split out. So while Hiruzen and Batulins look over the top to make sure they're not getting pushed from below, Spiro and Lu can try and play contain on the last players coming out of the farm area. They get one down. Spiro go down again. They get the rest back up. One more goes down. Now they lose 2 players. They both end up bleeding out. And they now have to play from below. So a little bit of an aggressive 2-way split that they maybe didn't have to do. But the thing is, there's only so many spots you can play from in this circle. There are only so many spots you can play, and these 2 are pretty much the last 2 that they can play around. And if they sit 4 guys down here, they're just waiting for one nade to kill them all. So they were hoping that Spiro and Lu could play contain and control this earlier and faster, so they could push back up and help. But Batulins and Hiruzen just gets overrun because everyone else are focusing on them. But in this situation here, even like with the knock coming in onto Uber, here. When you look at this, when I see this from a map perspective, I just have to think, how does a Freak of Freaks get 3rd place this game? These 2 teams are fighting. They're in a 4v2 versus FaZe. And these guys are fighting. It takes a while before Gustav gets the knock though. Now he gets it. But they get the knock at 26 minutes 34 seconds. That's a whole 45 seconds before EJ gets knocked. Just the Freaker Freaks have just been playing some weird late games. They don't seem like as good as they can seem in some situations. They've just had some really strange late games. Even the game they win against Ents, if you go down and break the 2v4 that they win against TSM, I mean, if you go down and break down if you go back and break down the end game from the in-game POV, there are so many things happening that, I mean, where TSM should have won that game 15 times. Both teams, both the Freaker Freaks and TSM, they throw their flashes, but they don't peek. So that once they have to peek, they don't have any flashes to throw. And then when they do push out, Akkad makes the aggressive push in the 1v2 when EJ is still sitting in behind the wall and healing. So had TSM gotten the first knock, there would have been 2 individual 2v1s. It's fortunate, of course, that, I mean, Akkad ends up getting the double kill. But EJ was in no way positioned to help him out. Same thing with the SDK loss. When they lose against SDK south of Severny, Freaker Freaks were in a 4v3. It ends up becoming a 3v3 because Akkad got impatient. And they throw it knowing that there's really only one place they can go. So as much as what do you say? It's just one of those things where, and that's one of the things that I really think FaZe are good at. Yes, sure, in this game they maybe get some circles going their way, and maybe they did in the last game too. But as we've seen now with the Freaker Freaks 3 times, just getting circles don't grant you wins. You also have to be able to play out the game to the end. You have to know how to utilize the circle going your way in order to get the chicken dinner. Because if you don't play it smart, other smarter teams will position themselves wisely to get themselves into a better position. And FaZe has done that correctly. They have played it correctly for every circle they have. In this particular situation here, I mean, when they got up here, completely smart move. This is just a FaZe, I guess, going, well, I mean, if they're not going to push us, we might as well just get Uber back on his feet. Same thing later. They have a chance to take the fight over here. Now, a Freaker Freak should have understood that they needed to deal with FaZe before this was over. Same thing when we went back to the compound, right? If we go back here. Same thing down here. We have Virtus Pro and Team Liquid. And here, there's also a Senya solo player. But FaZe realizes that they have to make this push before this fight comes to an end. Because if they don't, our team will take control and they will be held out. We just talked about it in the previous game. Very similar story to what happens over here. Freaker Freaks know that Daytrade and Virtus Pro are fighting each other. They have to deal with FaZe Clan so that they don't end up in a situation where if they haven't dealt with them and whichever of these 2 teams wins this, takes control here, they're going to be the third-party team. They don't do that. They don't do that. They don't push it. They play it on their back foot. And now, in the situation where they should have made the push and killed FaZe, this fight down here has come to an end. Daytrade has been eliminated, and what we feared before is happening. A team comes up here, taking control, and a Freaker Freaks are now the team. Even though they have the numbers, a Freaker Freaks is now the team in the middle. They can't really do a whole lot. So they're just playing the endgame wrong. They are positioning themselves in the middle, and then this also happens. I don't know exactly what went down, probably a nade or something. But they just didn't play the end game right. And other teams do. Other teams like FaZe Clan, maybe they get a circle going their way, but they know how to take advantage of it. They know how to use it. Other teams can get all the circles in the world and still lose games and get 2 kills. I don't know how many kills the Freaker Freaks had, probably more than 2. But it's yeah. This is one of the examples of me saying circles don't give wins. Circles give opportunities for wins, but you still have to be able to utilize those opportunities. You still have to know how to take advantage of them in order to get the wins. And 3 times now, I've seen the Freaker Freaks. I mean, okay, the one game they did win. against TSM. That you could say is probably TSM not getting themselves the win. But 3 times now I've seen questionable things happening on the side of Freaky Freaks. Questionable name? Afrika Freaks? Is that a questionable name? I don't know. Let's see. Last game of the day. We'll leave the playing path up for now, and we'll get the name tags up as well, of course. What happens here? They trade jump out early. Now Na'Vi don't jump Primorsk. Oh, they're going back towards the east. Okay, so they're going to go in their mansion split that we've seen them do before. And did we update this? Yes, we did. Last game of the day, game number 5. Oath, the only ones on military. Circle goes towards the north. They trade in their split. Where does TSG go here? They go down towards the... Yeah, makes sense. Anything out of the ordinary? No, because now we've seen BP and Rozak, we've seen STK here, we know Divine goes up GS Naya, we know Ens likes to go to the north. Everything outside of what we discussed earlier is as expected. Let's see. Phase 1 pops. We don't know if it's going to go north or south. The snake is still here. The snake. It looks like a pregnant snake. Or have you ever seen those documentaries where you see like a big African snake eat like an entire, I don't know, the horse or something? I don't know. Horse was probably not the correct animal to mention, but you know where you see like the crazy big snakes that eats like an entire hippopotamus baby or something like that, and they just like their stomachs go and then they lay still for the next 6 weeks because they have to digest the animal. That's what this is. Bermuda is like the pregnant snake belly. Or the fat snake belly, I guess. Or maybe it's not. So we have the big bunny here, which no one can unsee. The big bunny here. There's so many animals on this map when you think about it. We have the big bunny here. With the Easter egg below. That's one animal. Then we have the big pregnant snake. This is the snake's tongue. Then we have the little cute cat down here. Meow meow. There are just animals all over the place. Maybe it's... Yeah. Tell me if you find more animals. Maybe Erangel is just a big combination of animal photos that they've then turned into terrain. Who knows? I don't. Either way, let's continue. There's no way of telling right now whether this circle is going to go towards the north or south. And why are STK and Multi-Circle Gaming fighting? MCG, they like pushing up here. We've seen them sit in this area of the map before. STK are coming in from the other side of the circle, obviously, not looting Yasnaya anymore. They do usually have one player down here, but let's see now. They push over towards the hilltop. They leave some up on Volcano. They split the teams and manage to fight them apart each other. Uncivil is down. They don't go for the flush. They want to commit to get the kills on the rest of them. He bleeds out. 1 down, 2 down. MCG eliminates STK. Good fight. They get the first knock on one side. They instantly find the knock on the other. And then they push on it. They don't give a care about the knocked player. They got to flush the other players first. Smart playing. Zenith. Maybe they see this as a third-party opportunity. They do come down in this area. They take control of the compound. In the meantime, Multi-Circle Gaming now forced to play from where they were. In the meantime, Virtus Pro, they want to maintain control on both sides of the river. We've talked about this a billion times before, but I'll gladly mention it again. In these circles where you have the river kind of sort of splitting the circle in half, you want to try and see if you can maintain some sort of control. Or like have a landing zone on both sides. So that if the circle goes north, Turtle will know, great, I can just go over here because we already have this area. If the circle goes south, VP can go, great, we can just go down here because we know Patulans already has this area. You'll see a lot of teams who do play around the river try and kind of claim control on both sides. Or at least have somewhere they can go on the other side. EB, he wanted to go back to school. Runs through. Maybe he needed a little more loot. Maybe he was not satisfied with the guns that he had. New circle pops, and we do go towards the north. Okay, so great. Now, of course, Batulins. Right, you can just go back up here. Turtle, you can just go over there. And that's why I do the splits the way that they just did. Everyone else will be coming up over the top. And I'm not thinking there's going to be too many teams wrapping over the bridges. I would assume to see a lot of teams maybe trying to go up over like this. Wait, what is facing? Oh, they're not fighting. Okay. Maybe some teams are going to wrap out far west. I would assume to see Gen G do this. Look at the split they have right now. Gen G likes to do this on these sort of circles. Take a wide split. I mean, again, very similar to how Virtus Pro does it. Set in a wide split on the edge of the circle. And then if it goes east, you already have Loki over here who can start moving out and claim something. If it goes west, Pio can go up and make a move, and the other guys can come to him. Now, it does go west. You see instantly, Virtus Pro, they go over in, Virtus Pro, Gen G, they go over in this direction. Try and claim a spot to play from. Liquid, they push on over the bridge as well. They've been sitting on the south side. They go, great, let's move. Push on over, up towards the plane crash area they go, I would assume. Yep, they do. Split further north, take control of that as well. Gen G, come on over. Base, as expected, wrapping over Yasnaya. They like to play into these circles from the north. If you remember, quote unquote, old Face Clan, one of the first rotations we ever really saw that was like, oh, this is the rotation we see every time, was Face that always did those rotations up to this compound up here, like way back in the day. And they still do like to play these circles in from the north. Or at least they do that a lot. I'm not sure if it's because they like it, but they do come into these circles from the north quite often. Circle goes towards the west, and now is where we're pretty much saying, guys, just abandon your vehicles. You're going to be playing on foot from now on. It's we're forcing teams up into the hills, shooting range mountain or shooting range hills, and once you clear the road, I feel like maybe a little further up. Once you clear this line from the east, like once you go over here, you're most likely not going to be using vehicles anymore. Yeah, and the reason they cut it short is because we're in phase 3 and not phase 1, obviously. So everyone coming up here are going to be playing on foot in the hills. Tianba right now has a decent two-way split. I like the way they have two guys up on the hills. They don't want to just sit all four down here, because this is one of those positions where if a team is allowed to sit up here, it can be incredibly difficult to maintain good control, because you never know what's going to happen. And you cannot play upstairs in the house because maybe they get an angle on you while you're looking towards the south. It's just incredibly annoying trying to play this compound and do something with it if there's a team sitting up here. So they have made sure that's not happening by having two players up here themselves. Day trade sits 4 in the compound. You can do that easily. There is a similar situation where this is kind of the frustration point over this. This can be the frustration point over this. Similar to where this compound down here, it can be frustrating to have a team sitting over here. So all these compounds have I don't want to say a counter area, just an area that you, if possible, want to make sure that no opponents can sit in, because it can be incredibly annoying trying to do something if there's a team sitting right next to you like that. So they have prevented that by having two up on the hills. Smart, proactive play by them. Oath and Virtus Pro end up having a brawl on the south side. Oath comes pushing full speed forward. They manage to wipe Virtus Pro. Okay, impressive. And the Freak of Freaks sit tight way up on the north side. T1 only 2 alive. Yep, they have control of shooting range. Face, wrap in from the northeast again, as expected. And Ends, I like this split as well. The leaf takes her down below. Maybe he can look a little further up here. They will look over the top. In case the circle has to go north, they have a place they can wrap to and go north around. Circle. We exclude even more compounds down towards the south. We still have these two in, but now they're on the far edge of the circle, so likely not going to be played a whole lot. And also, we have this hill that goes, I guess, like this, maybe? As long as shooting range is in, and not being hard contested inside, obviously, this whole area here becomes incredibly difficult to utilize. Because if there's a team sitting in here, then they can shoot out towards the south, up this hill. it's just really difficult to find a place to sit tight because these guys will most likely be able to see you. So we'll see how much of this area over here is going to be played by anyone. In the meantime, I like what Liquid are doing out towards the west. You can see they're doing a wide split. Jeem stays way below, trying to make sure that no one's either trying to wrap in here or wrap here. And even if they do, they will at least know. So they're making sure all that is good and dandy. Mexi is up on the hills, trying to look up this way. Again, still looking down towards the south, trying to make sure no one's trying to wrap in. EB goes far around the backside, trying to make sure, because this is a situation where, again, this first shift was to the west. Now we go back towards the center. We know there's a lot of teams over here, and a lot of them probably want to make a rotation to, as we've discussed, the colder or the more quiet side of the circle, which in this case is here. I mean, if we do this, if we kind of split the circle in half, I guess it's kind of straight through here. Right now, we have 3 teams on the west side and 10 teams on the east. It's pretty clear to see which side of the circle has the more action going, right? So smart playing by Liquid, not just sitting in here and allowing for teams to pull up on them, but spreading out and making sure they have more space to play from. Because the worst thing when you have to push into a circle in the open is if you have a team right next to you. Because you cannot look forward when you're rotating in and see where you want to go. You have to constantly pay attention to the team next to you that is also trying to get into the circle. So by doing this early, they now make sure that they get themselves a pretty big buffer zone trying to push forward later. Smart playing by Liquid. Oath, as we talked about, teams that want to wrap around this way, they run straight into Gen G, because Gen G was kind of sort of doing the same thing. You can see the way they're splitting right now. They're doing the same thing as Liquid, actually. They're sitting up like this. Pio might be looking towards the compound, but Esther, Loki, and Anonix are sitting like this and going, no one's going to be passing through here. Not going to happen. Like, we're just not going to allow for any teams to wrap on through here. So smart playing by Gen G, and maybe that's where Liquid realizes, great, I guess we don't have to do this anymore. Because you can kind of see when they start shooting is when they go, great, I guess we have other people working and doing that for us. So we'll just wrap back towards the compound or wrap back towards plane crash, and then we'll wait for them to think they have done a good job when they come running towards us, which is what should happen right around now. In the meantime, all kinds of hell breaks loose over towards the east. Again, 10 teams trying to make their way into that circle. Not gonna happen. Navi forced to take a fight with Ends. GSG comes in. Gianba pulls out of the compound, takes the fight. An Oath with Snakers and Charge, or in the front anyway, tries to make the run forward to engage on that fight too. Circle hard shifts up towards the north. That's interesting. Face, again, still chilling on the north side of the circle. Have been quietly making their way up there. They're sitting tight for now. Ends try to wrap underneath. They get slaughtered by Gustav. Everyone else. I mean, this is just, again, we talked about it just before. If shooting range is taken, you cannot really utilize this for anything. And look at this. You have such a big portion of the circle right now that's not being played by anyone simply because you just can't do anything with it. You just cannot do anything with it at all. So everyone's forced to fight out here. That's also why we saw Oath try and wrap around, because they want to get away from this whole cluster that will unfold down on this side of the circle. And while all these teams are fighting, all these teams are shooting, or at least some of them can be shooting up at them. Face takes a close quarter fight to Zenith, or the other way around. Roth finds one more. Uba is on his own. Liquid clears the top side. Or they will be the one team that survives it, at least for now, and wrap back down. And now, a Freak of Freaks again. In a good, I don't want to say winning position, because the game is far from over. There's still 17 players alive. But in a good position on the north side of the circle. They get a double north hard shift. A Freak of Freaks, you lucky sons of bitches. They get a double north hard shift. And let's see how they utilize it. They know there are still players inside of shooting range that they have to deal with. But they go, nah, let's not deal with that right now. Let's go out into the open and see if we can hold off Liquid from making their rotation. Oops, on in. I can't. Gets knocked. Hansia is instantly there. EJ is playing down, like peeking over into this, I would assume, from the bunker. Maybe he's looking up here as well. But now that all of Liquid is wrapped down and Pio is wrapped down, I would assume that his position is a little over still. It's maybe better to either push out this way or to maintain control here and make sure that no one's trying to wrap in behind them. That's probably what he's doing. He's like the roadblock that makes sure that no one can come in that way. Why does FaZe not push it around north side and shooting range before the circle closes? I mean, right now FaZe is only one player. Why they don't do it here? It's incredibly difficult to get out on this road and push around, because if there's 1 or 2 players here, they can do a very easy job of holding you. If there's a person here, he can throw nades over. Once they're fighting here, they all of a sudden maybe become exposed to the teams that are still up on the hill. They'll be able to see over if they're fighting down here. It's just incredibly difficult to take that fight. And also, you only have 60 seconds by the time the circle pops to make that move. You've just been pulled up on by Zenith, and they instantly lose a player. So there's just too much going on. Liquid should have cleared Gen G first. Yeah, I agree. They had a chance to push over. They were on the edge of the blue, but they see the next circle. They know this is happening, and they probably think, you know what? Why take a fight here when we can push into the circle, get into a good spot, and then hold them out? And they back off instead. I think that's a smart play. They're not expecting these two to become a threat when they push down here. They know that if we don't make a move now, if we don't fall back here, make a move, and take this, whichever team is down here, which in this case is a Freak of Freaks, we'll just go two-way splitting this, and then how the hell do we ever get down from the mountain? So smart playing by Liquid and not committing to staying up here to deal with Gen G. Now they try to make their way down. Loki ends up getting across and going down. They do find the kill onto EB. Teams gets knocked as well. And all of a sudden now Liquid are in between 2 teams, which of course is unfortunate. In the meantime, Zenith on the south side has played their way in really slow and really smart to take control. Uba is alive out in what will be the blue, and T1 still this two-way split. They have been sitting like this for a very long time. Zenith takes full dot control, or center control, because there's still one more circle coming. And Freak of Freaks played wisely. They wrap over. They know, again, we have to deal with these guys before we can do anything else. They get the kill on towards PO. And they push over. EJ gets knocked. They get the flush. They get healed. They get back up 4 together. In the meantime, Hansia has been sitting here, making sure that no one's coming around this way, while also being able to look over this way and make sure that Zenith don't make an aggressive push down in their direction. Now he pushes up inside the circle. That's a little bit of a dip. Goes down. Maybe he didn't know about Punich's position, but he ends up going down. He gets naded, I would assume, since we don't see the hit marker on him. And gets flushed as well. And now the rest of the Freak of Freaks has to try and make their way in. Okay. Still, we know that there are people inside here. They know as well. There are 10 alive. It cannot just be us 2 teams here. And you can see both Roth and Shinboy are still trying to contain inside here. Trying to claim control. So Zenith are currently playing 1v3 in terms of team count. They do have the better numbers, but still, they're in a pretty scary situation here, because they have to take a lot of control. They need to maintain this two-way split and say, back off of Freak of Freaks, we're trying to deal with the solos. And they have to say, back off solos, we're trying to deal with the Freak of Freaks. Kind of at the same time. They have the circle, but it's they're kind of doing the whole matrix backs towards each other, looking for opponents all the way around. Random fact, BDP, it's been probably 10 years since last time I saw a Matrix movie. Speaking of Matrix. Freak of Freaks, they buy their time, they play it slow, there are only 2 alive. EJ gets the wipe on 1. Ikari goes up on his own to peek over the top. They end up taking them down together. Now they have a 2v1 against Roth. He goes inside. We know the circle is going to go on the dot. So Roth, by pushing in, Roth kind of gives up his position here. Because now they can just hold. I like how EJ plays this one in the end of it. They know he pushes in. I assume Hikari spots it. And he goes up and takes his previous position. And now he's completely checkmated inside. Because there's no way he gets out. Unless if he gets some really good knocks in there. And as he tries to make a move, he ends up going down. Either to blue or, I don't know. But finally, good end game by Afrika Freaks. They've had their chances. They could have had one more. They could have had back-to-back wins, but at least now they get one, and that is also something. So yeah, that was day 1. We will be doing day 2 analysis, but not today. I'm gonna be doing it tomorrow. My brain cannot function having to analyze all those games back to back. But yeah, that was day number 1 of the Week 3 finals. If you watched on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. Take care.